Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Matajis. I welcome you to chapter 4. Section 4 we shall be discussing. Before that, let us pray to Shri Radha Bhumiji and also seek blessings of Sri Ramnist Das Prabhuji, the temple president at ISKCON, Mangalore, who has provided us this pious platform to interact and discuss some theme of Bhagavad Gita, whom Lord Krishna himself spoke. So, Om Ajnanati Mirantasya Jnananjan Shalakya Chakshur Unmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah. Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedant Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desha Tarini. Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. He Krishna Karna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. So welcome devotees, Prabhujis and Mataji to today's class. The last section we discussed about karma. To begin with, it was how to control the lust, the transcendental methods of controlling lust, so that material entanglement is not there. Thereafter, in the last section, we covered out karma, the different types of karma, and then we tried to understood karma from the platform of jnana. And that the three types of karma we discussed, that was, akarma, vikarma, and karma. And emphasis was on akarma only. That is inaction. We perform, but we do not enjoy the fruits of it. So chapter 3, we discussed about nishkam karma, and from nishkam karma to akarma we are coming to, which is a higher platform as compared to the prescribed duties of individual according to his varna and ashrama, which Vedas prescribe. So rising to akarma is rising above the three modes of material nature, rising above the three the Vedic injunctions or scriptural injunctions. Now, after knowing karma from the point of view knowledge or transcendental knowledge, now how sacrifices can also give to rise to different type of transcendental knowledge. One can attain transcendental knowledge. But let us, before we start this topic, this sacrifices and different type, method, results, and effect, and how to attain it. Let me ask you, anyone please answer, what we do really understand by sacrifice or yajna? Anyone may unmute and answer.
Something which we can quit, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other idea?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, depriving something from ourselves.
Right. Very nice, Mataji. Any other thing?
Hare Krishna
Yes,
Prabhuji.
yes, Mataji. Please.
Giving up.
Very nice. Giving up something. Mataji said depriving, you said giving up, yes. Or so yajna, normally we consider yajna means sacrificial, giving up something in the sacrificial fire, right? Yajna, we normally take it that way. Havan or yajna, that is offering few articles, reciting certain slokas and offering them to demigods. This is kind of yajna piece. But broadly speaking, if we try to understand what is yajna or sacrifice, sacrifice is any spiritual activity which is done with a certain predefined goal or objective in order to please Krishna or the Yajna Purush, who is Vishnu. Any activity, even the we know Vistic yogis, what they are doing. Even the Karma yogis, what they are doing some kind of yoga. Word yoga has a meaning which means yoga is union with God. Yoga, we know in mathematics, sum or yoga. So yoga is nothing but some or connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So sacrifice is something which is a spiritual activity which is done. If somebody, people are building hospitals, charitable hospitals, and some dharmshalas or something like shelter homes or for aged. So all these are also sacrifices. Sacrifice does not mean only giving up money or desire or an item which you love most. It's not that much. It's more than that. If you are studying Bhagavad Gita in your spare time, whatever morning time or evening time, you are doing a sacrifice. This is Swadhyaya is also a sacrifice. So it is a very broad term. Is it okay now? Am I able to make it clear? The sacrifice is not only offering sacrificial items in the holy fire for pleasing Vishnu or Lord Yajna Purush or Krishna, but anything, any activity which is done as a spiritual point of view to attain a certain goal. Mystic yogi is also doing sacrifices. Devotees of Krishna in Krishna consciousness, they are also doing some kind of sacrifices. And then so many people are doing some other kind of sacrifice. This is a very broad term. So fruit of all kinds of Vedic sacrifices, transcendental knowledge. Now there are three advantages of doing sacrifice. First is that you get the material entanglement is nullified. You do not suffer from material entanglement. Secondly, happiness is there, and which is an important aspect of goal of life also. And third, you attain transcendental knowledge about Krishna. So this leads to, when you have this knowledge, it leads to liberation and ultimately pure devotional service. So this is what I was talking about. Varieties of sacrifices which lead to transcendental knowledge are explained into 25 to 29. This is what we are going to study today. Something more. Demigod worship is a sacrifice. Sacrifice into Brahman, that is also, Mayavadis and impersonalists, they are also doing sacrifice. They want to merge into the Brahman effulgence. So this is also a sacrifice for Mayavadis. Hearing process. Now you are hearing, you are also doing sacrifice. When we are talking about Bhagavad Gita and you are listening, then it's also hearing the Lord's glory, Nam Roop, good and lila is also a sacrifice. And you are also using your senses in the fire of mental control. That means you are at the same time controlling your mental activities while listening to Krishna. So there are two categories of people, the unadulterated brahmacharis and the regulated grahastha, and everybody, both of category are doing some other kind of sex. Ashtanga yogi are also doing exercise, sacrifice. Patanjali yoga system is slightly different, offers the function of all senses and life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. So in Patanjali Yoga, mind is controlled. So you offer your senses, you offer your mind, you offer your sense objects on which the mind dwells. That is also a sacrifice. So goal is merging into the existence of absolute. So this is what Mayavadi are thinking. They want to perform strict penance, austerity, and sacrifice to merge into the Brahman effulgence. So charity, it is also Drabhamaya Gyan. You are giving up money, charity in any form. We will charity in mode of goodness, passion in chapter 17 when we discuss, we'll discuss what more about charity, what types of charity run in three modes. Drabhamaya study examples, charitable institutions, old age homes, hospitals, shelters, all these are giving, feed to birds and animals. This is also this charitable activity is also a yajna. Austerity, tapomaya yajna. So Drabhamaya yajna, tapomaya yajna. Swadhyaya is an yajna. Yoga yajna, sacrifice for a certain perfection in material life, material world. Mystic yogi want to do sacrifice. They do lot of tapas of penance in order to attain certain mystic powers. So that is also yoga yajna. And then Patanjali system for merging into the existence, into the absolute impersonalist I have talked about. They are Hatha Yogi, and going to holy pilgrimages is also a sacrifice. A study of scripture, that is Swadhyaya, is also an exercise. Then Hatha Yogi and Pranayam. Pranayam of, that it is a control of breath system. So they are all kind of sacrifices which are mentioned here. Yes, somebody would like to volunteer this one? We are starting at 25. Yes, Richard and Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Deva me vapare yagyam yogina prayupasate brahmaganav apare yagyam yagyane vopajuhavati. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. Sacrifice means to satisfy the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, who is also known as Yagna. All the different varieties of sacrifice can be placed within two primary divisions, namely sacrifice of worldly possessions and sacrifice in pursuit of transcendental knowledge. Those who are in Krishna consciousness sacrifice all the material possessions for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, while others who want some temporary material happiness sacrifice their material possessions to satisfy demigods such as Indra, the sun god, etc. And others who are impersonalist sacrifice their identity by merging into the existence of impersonal Brahman. The demigods are powerful living entities appointed by the Supreme Lord for the maintenance and the supervision of all material functions like the heating, watering, and lighting of the universe. Those who are interested in material benefits worship the demigods by various sacrifices according to the Vedic rituals.
Thank you, Mataji. So broadly, two categories of people. Worldly people, that is Grahastha, they perform sacrifice in order to please demigods so that they get some material benefits or advantages or some kind of material fruitful results. And the other person is devotee class, who uses all material. He does not sacrifice. He uses all material for in the loving devotional service of Krishna. So he is, in fact, yukt in a state of yukt vairagya. He is not doing it for self-pleasure or self-sense gratification, but he is doing it for pleasure of Krishna, to satisfy the senses of Krishna. So these are two categories. And of course, multiple variety of sacrifices we have already discussed in the previous slide. Yes, Mataji, this one. Sorry, this. Yeah, please continue.
Sacrifice means to satisfy the Supreme Lord Vishnu, who is also known as Yagna. Sacrifice can be placed within two primary divisions, namely sacrifice of worldly possessions and sacrifice in the pursuit of transcendental knowledge. Those who are in Krishna consciousness sacrifice all material possessions for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Some temporal material happiness sacrifice their material possessions to satisfy demigods, such as Indra, the sun god. Impersonalists sacrifice their identity by merging into the existence of impersonal Brahman. The demigods are powerful living entities that maintain and supervise the supply of heating, watering, and lighting facilities of the universe.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is a continuation or summary of previous verse. Yes, this one also, Mataji.
Those interested in material benefits worship the demigods by various sacrifices according to the Vedic rituals. They are called Bhav Ishvaravadi, or believes in many gods. Those who worship the impersonal feature of the absolute truth and regard the forms of the demigods as temporary, sacrifice their time in philosophical speculation to understand the transcendental nature of the Supreme. For them, altar of sacrifice is the Supreme Brahman, and the offering is the self being consumed by the fire of Brahman.
Thank you, Mataji. So those persons, material person, the persons who desire some material benefit, they worship demigods, and demigods, there are many demigods. So many demigods are there, we know. But God is only one. God is only one, that is Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, that he is only God. Others are demigods. So there are many demigods. We know that they are appointed ministers in different departments by the Lord himself, and they are in charge of each section of their jurisdiction. So those people who worship demigods, they are Bahu Ishwarvadi. Bahu means multiple. This spelling is slightly incorrect. It should be you instead of we. So Bahu Ishwarvadi, they worship multiple gods because they believe in those gods, demigods, and they want some kind of result. Now, what is with the Mayavadis? Mayavadis, they want to perform exile, sacrifice, so that their individuality is merged into the Brahmanic effulgence. They don't want any kind of relationship with God. They don't want any kind of loving devotional service rendering to Krishna. They just want to. So the perception of sacrifice of two classes is completely different. Now, this picture is another summary, is a very detailed summary, because this is a very important aspect. So far, we have been understanding that sacrifice means offering things, articles to please demigods in the sacrificial fire, but it's not like that. So primary, on this left-hand side, you can see primary divisions of sacrifice is done for worldly possessions, and secondly is done for transcendental knowledge. And I told you in the beginning that there are three main goals of the doing any sacrifice. The first, of course, is material possessions. Second is you derive happiness, and third, transcendental knowledge is obtained. And if it is not material possession, then of course it gives rise to elimination of material contamination and reactions to the past sinful activities. So these are three basic goals when we talk about transcendence. Now, aim of sacrifice is one, but varieties differ superficially. We have seen so many types of sacrifices, but aim is only one. And what is that aim? Aim is to please Supreme Personality of Godhead, or Vishnu, or Yajna Purush. Now, comparison of various sacrifices, demigod worship, we know, for material enjoyment, also for various material benefits, and these people are demigod worshippers are Bahu Ishwarvadi. Impersonalists, they want to lose their identity, they want to merge into the Brahman effulgence, they don't want any kind of relationship, they think that is the ultimate, which is just like comparing to the sunlight. That I told you, there is sun god, there is sun planet, and there is sun rays. So they want to just merge into the sun rays only. They don't think that beyond sun rays there is sun globe or sun planet, and within sun planet is the sun god. A devotee, now what is the status of a Krishna conscious devotee? The devotee does not want any kind of liberation. He doesn't want any kind of merging or sayuji mukti. He wants eternal association of Lord Krishna, want to serve Lord eternally in a loving manner, so that the relationship becomes eternal. He wants to remain in Krishna Loka doing devotional service of Krishna. He doesn't want any kind of material gains. And whatever material resources are available, he wants to use them for the service, loving devotional service of Krishna. Now, there is a material loop. Because we are ignorant, avidya, this is a cycle of sin, then we lead a sinful life and we keep on doing sinful activities. And when we do sinful activities, every action has a reaction. There is a reaction, and we continue to remain in the cycle of birth and death. That is, our material existence is never ends. So what is the best point to cut down this cycle is to cut down the ignorance by gaining the transcendental knowledge. And this is what Lord Krishna is describing in these verses. Now, happiness, can we get happiness without sacrifice? We do not. And Lord Brahma, how was Lord Brahma born? Does anybody remember? How did he come into being, Lord Brahma? How did he come into being? 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 How did he come into be
From navel of the Lord Vishnu,
Yes, Mataji, very nice.
he came out.
And which form of Vishnu was that? Garbhodakshaya Vishnu.
Okay.
Karnako Dakshai Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Shirokdakshai Vishnu. So from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Lord Brahma, a stem of lotus plant came out, and at the top a flower, and that is how. So when Lord Brahma was born, when Krishna wanted that Lord Brahma should be born and he should come into existence and he should create the universes and populate the purpose of Brahma was creation. Creation means that universe is already created by Karnak Doshai Vishnu, and Krishna wanted that Lord Brahma should populate. And who were the four sons of Brahma whom he wanted to populate the universe?
For Kumaras.
Yes, Mataji, four Kumaras. But they decided they were very impersonalist, in fact, to begin with. But they didn't want to populate. They wanted that let us remain a small child of 7 years, all the age, though age may go up, but they will never grow beyond 7 years of age, 5 years of age. And four Kumaras who were impersonalists in the beginning became personalists or devotees of Lord Krishna. So when Brahma was born, the first word he spoke or Lord Krishna gave him was tap. Tap means sacrifice. Tap means austerity or penance. All these activities are included in this tapa. All sacrifice must be performed with the knowledge of their purpose and goal. Now, yes, Bhavika Mataji, you raised your hand. Please unmute yourself, Bhavika Mataji, if you are there.
Sutadini Drina Yane Ani hello. Hello. Hi Krishna.
Your voice is very low, Mataji. Please, a bit louder.
Okay. Is it audible now?
Yes, now. Yes.
Okay. Strotadini Indrayani Ani Samyamagnisu Juhvati Samdadin Visyan Anya Indrayani Ignisu Juhvati. Some, the unadulterated brahmacharis, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of senses. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So there are two categories that we discussed earlier. They are regulated householders and they are unadulterated brahmacharis. So brahmacharis, what is their sacrifice? Hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control. They control their mind and they focus on hearing only. Shravanam, that is a sacrifice. And the regulated householders, not ordinary householders, but regulated householders who follow the Vedic injunctions or scriptures injunctions. This object of senses. Object of senses, what are the objects of senses? You are using ghee, you are using flowers, you are using samigri, you are using, camphor and so many other items, flowers, food, all these items are sense of object and they are being offered to the sacrificial fires. Thereby, you are controlling your mind. So, the two methods. Yes, Mataji. My screen is visible to you, full screen, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
The members of four divisions of human life, namely the brahmacharis, the grahastha, the vanaprastha, and the sannyasis, are all meant to become perfect yogis or transcendentalists. Since human life is not meant for our enjoying sense gratification like animals, the four orders of human life are so arranged that one may become perfect in spiritual life. The brahmachari students, under the care of a bona fide spiritual master, control the mind by abstaining from sense gratification. A brahmachari hears only words concerning Krishna consciousness, and therefore the pure brahmachari engages fully in Hare Namanu Kirtanam, chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord. He restrains himself from the vibration of material sounds, and his hearing is engaged in the transcendental sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Similarly, the Grahastha householders who have some license for sense gratification perform such act with great restraint. Marriage on the principle of religious life is therefore current in all civilized human society, because that is the way for restricted sex life. This is also a kind of yagna, because the restricted householder sacrifices his general tendency towards sense gratification for higher transcendental life.
Thank you, Mataji. So as I mentioned, the pure brahmachari, his only job or sacrifice, his mode of sacrifice is hearing and chanting only of Lord. That is mentioned as here as Hare Namanu Kirtanam. He is already always doing kirtan of Hare, name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas it Grahastha, who is regulated, what he is doing? Regulated. In fact, if we remember the four regulative principles, one was of illicit sex relationship. Is it not? But it is not only illicit in Krishna consciousness. It is not only illicit regulation of illicit relationship or sex. It is also even in married life. It has to be, sex has to be, activity has to be regulated to the extent of producing a Krishna conscious baby. Not for self-enjoyment, self-enjoyment of own self. So the marriage system of a regulated grahastha is also an activity which is named as sacrifice, because he is controlling his own sense gratification or desires in order to achieve a certain goal. And the goal here is to have a baby who is Krishna consciousness, not for his own sense organ enjoyment. So it is further elaborated here. Then yes, Mataji, next one also.
The members of
I finished, I think, this one, Mataji. This one is to be.
Sarvani Nandriya Karmani Prana Karmani Chapare Atma Samyama Yognayu Juvati Yagna Dipite. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as obligations into the fire of the controlled mind.
The second category, they control their mind and offer that control of mind, and all the senses are also controlled, and all the functions of all senses, and including the life breath or the prana vayu to Lord Krishna. So, and who is doing pranayam? Yogis are doing pranayam. You know, how many types of air are there? Life forces or air forces which regulate a living entity. Does anybody remember? The 5 types of air?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Apana Vayu, Udana Vayu, Prana Vayu.
Yes.
Apana Vayu, Udana Vayu, Samana Vayu, Vyana Vayu, and Apana, Samana, Vyana, Udana, and one more is there.
Okay, very nice. Thank you. So there are 5 life forces, 5 life air forces which regulate a person's life or breath, and these are Udan. First is Udan. Udan starts from the heart, comes to throat and goes to the head, and it moves upwards. This air moves upwards, and rest all the 4 airs, they move downwards. Downwards means that first is Udan. Second is Pranavayu. Pranavayu starts from the it starts from the lungs, heart, and head, or brain rather. The pranavayu controls, we know the pranavayu is, if there is no lungs is not working, heart is not working, brain is not working, person is declared dead. So pranavayu is moving these three directions, but it is moving from outside to inside, from up to lower side. And third is Vayan. So Vayan is in the heart and the lungs only. It is in the central part only, right? And then it is also moving down. And fourth ear is Saman. Saman is focused at the central point or around the navel point only. And Apan moves from the lower abdomen to outside the body. These are 5 kinds of life forces which control the living, existence of an individual. So, and these are offered as a sacrifice by a mystic yogi. He will control his breathing. And there are, mystic yogis who can reverse the process of breathing also. They are Hatha yogi. And how this helps. And also there are yogis who are Kumbhaka yogi. They are able to regulate. Kumbhaka yogi can stop his breathing. They do so that their lifespan increases. Similarly, Hatha yogi, what they do, they reverse the process of normally what we are doing. We are doing inspiration of air, then we are expiring the air out of our nostrils. So those Hatha yogi, they reverse their process. That means they take expiration first and then inspiration. And by doing so, they increase their lifespan. You will remember that meditation was a practice which was done by yogis for thousands of years because their life was very, very long. So how they used to prolong their lifespan was like this. And when we are, breathing very slow or breathing in a reverse manner, then metabolic activity of cells of our organs of the body, they also go down. And when there is no metabolic activity going on at a very slow rate, of course, the life or vitality of organs is also increased. So this is another kind of, yes, Mataji?
In the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, the soul is called Pratyag Atma and Parag Atma. As long as the soul is attached to the sense enjoyment, it is called Parag Atma. Soul detached from sense enjoyment, it is called as Pratyag Atma. The Patanjali system of yoga instructs how to control the functions of the body's air so that ultimately favorable for purifying the soul of material attachment. According to this yoga system, Pratyag Atma is the ultimate goal. This Pratyag Atma is withdrawn from activities in matter.
Okay.
The senses interact. The senses interact. Yes, the senses interact with the sense objects like the ear of hearing, eye for seeing, nose for smelling, tongue for tasting, and hands for touching. And all of them are thus engaged in activities outside the self. They are called the functions of pranavayu. Enlightenment is engaging this knowledge is searching of self-realization.
Thank you, Mataji. So Yoga Sutra Patanjali described Paragatma and Pratyagatma. Paragatma, attachment to sense enjoyment. Pratyagatma, giving up the sense enjoyment. And this is called, this is done by the yogic exercises or breathing exercise, control of breathing exercises, which is called Pranavayu. We have discussed 5, Udan, Pran, Vayan, Saman, and Apan, 5 kind of air life forces which control our living. Yes, this one also, Mataji.
Dravya yagnas tapo yagna, yoga yagnas tapapare, swadhaya yagna, yajna yagnas cha, yata ya samsita vrataha. Having accepted strict vows, some becomes enlightened by sacrificing their possessions and others by performing severe austerities. By practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism are or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji. So this is further explanation. Strict vows. You take up vows like you will not eat this thing, you will eat one time. And you know, in Chaturmas also there are people who take one time food only. They live away from the family members and they eat only once and also sleep for a couple of hours only, do a lot of meditation, such kind of vows. Some become relative sacrifice their possessions. I told you that Dravya Yajna. The people give charities in the form of different or build certain charitable institutions and performing severe austerities. You will remember the Dich Muni, was doing so much of meditation that even insects and ants have made their home in his body and he was not disturbed. And practice of Ashtanga Yoga, that is, we are talking about the mystic yogi, they do Ashtanga Yoga and Swadhyaya or study of Vedas, that is also ultimately it leads to the third purpose was transcendental knowledge. So all these sacrificial activities result into attainment of attainment of transcendental knowledge, right? So yes, Chandamata ji, you would like to read?
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, this one. Sorry, got changed. Some persons.
Yes.
What is
Hare
it?
Krishna.
Yeah.
Some person sacrifice the just a minute, Prabhuji. Some persons sacrifice their possessions in the form of various kind of charities. Example: Dharmashala, Anna Kshetra, Atithi Sara, Anathalaya, and Vidya Pitha. Hospitals, old age homes, and similar charitable foundation meant for distributing food, providing education and medical treatment free to the poor. These are charitable activities are called Dravya Maya Yajna. For higher elevation, higher planets, austerities, Chandrayana and Chaturmasa include severe vows for conducting life under certain rigid rules. For example, in Chaturmasa vow, the candidates does not shave for 4 months during the year July to October. He does not eat a certain food, does not eat twice in a day, or does not leave home. Such sacrifices of the comforts of life is called the Tamomaya Yajna.
Tapomaya.
Sorry, probably. Tapomaya Yajna. Chandrayana, who on the 12th day of the lunar fortnight, etc., which foster capability of performing acts pleasing to the Lord. Uprightness consists of the oneness of thought, word, and deeds in one's leadings
Dealings
with others.
Thank you, Mata. So they have further explained the Dravamaya Yajna, the Tapomaya Yajna, and also Chandrayana. Chandrayana is 12th day of Ekadashi, and during when it is in Shukla Paksha, then it is Chandrayana. Chandrayana work, foster capability for performing acts pleasing to Lord. So they fast on this particular day to please Krishna. So these are other forms of the further elaboration of different type of discuss we have. Yes, Mataji, continue.
Yes, Prabhuji. Some engage themselves in different kinds of mystic yoga, Hatha yoga, or Ashtanga yoga. Some travel places of pilgrimage. Some engage themselves in the studies of different Vedic literature, the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Sankhya philosophies, etc. Swadhyaya Yajna or engagement in the sacrifice of studies. All these yogis are faithfully engaged in different types of sacrifice and are seeking a higher state of life. Krishna consciousness, the direct service of the Supreme Lord. Krishna consciousness cannot be attained by any one of the above mentioned types of sacrifice, but can be attained by only by the mercy of the Lord. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is the transcendental.
So thank you, Mate. So we heard about Tapomaya Yajna, Swadhyaya Yajna, Dravamaya Yajna, and mystic Ashtanga yogis, what they are doing, keeping vows and a certain kind of, fasting practices, charitable activities. All these are activities which are basically material in nature, though intent may be different. Intent may be to purify oneself or may get rid of material contamination. But Krishna consciousness, these sacrifices are loving devotional in the form of loving devotional service to Krishna. And how can one become a pure devotee? That is only possible through one means, the mercy of Krishna himself. And also association with pure devotees. So these are two aspects which are very important in our path of spiritual journey, that we must seek mercy of Lord and we must seek association of pure devotees, so that by hearing and chanting we develop that kind of 7 stages of devotional services. So yes, one more slide, Mataji, please continue.
Yes, Prabhuji. Apane juhavati pranam prane panam tatha pare pranapanagatirudhva pranamaya pranayah apare niyata haraha pranan pranesu juhavati. So, still others who are inclined to the process of breath retained to remain in trance, practice by offering the movement of outgoing breath into the incoming and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance. Stopping all breathing, others curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice.
Thank you. So we have already discussed Kumbhak Yoga, Hatha Yoga, and how the breath is controlled in order to increase the lifespan by yogis, and also to control their mind and intelligence and senses. So this one also, Mataji, then move in. Anyone else would like to read after Chanda Mataji? Please raise your hand. Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji. This system of yoga for controlling the breathing process is called pranayama. All of these processes are recommended for controlling the senses and for advancement in the spiritual realization.
Thank you, Mataji. That doesn't need many explanation. We have already discussed this point. Yes, Richa Jain Mataji. Riya Nursery Mataji, sorry. Riya Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sarvepi ite yagna vito yagna sapita kalmasa yagna sistaramta bhujo yanti brahma sanatanam. All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifices, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
So this is very clear that as we discussed the first, what are the three effects? First effect is cleansing of sinful reactions. Whatever sinful activities you have done, that is bound to have reaction, but if we perform sacrifice, that those reactions are nullified. And when you feel that sweetness of performing sacrifice, then you naturally rise in your spiritual journey. So this is the meaning here. Yes, Mataji, please continue.
From the foregoing explanation of different types of sacrifice, namely sacrifice of one's possessions, study of the Vedas or philosophical doctrines, and performance of the yoga system, it is found that the common aim of all is to control the senses. Sense gratification is a root cause of material existence. Therefore, unless and until one is situated on a platform apart from sense gratification, there is no chance of being elevated to the eternal platform of full knowledge, full bliss, and full life. This platform is in the eternal atmosphere or Brahman atmosphere. All the above mentioned full reactions of material existence. By this advancement in life, not only does one become happy and opulent in this life, but also at the end, he enters into the eternal kingdom of God, either merging into the impersonal Brahman or associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So whatever the route we might adopt, a Hatha Yogi or a Karma Yogi or a Bhakti Yogi, the ultimate destination is ultimately to reach to a spiritual platform. And Brahman effulgence is also a spiritual platform because the rays are coming from the personal body of Lord Krishna himself. So he is also partly reaching that Satchit Anand platform. That is also, in fact, part of the divine God realization, or stage of God realization rather. So, but why we are here? Because of ignorance, we are leading to committing sins. And when we are committing sins, reactions will happen. And when reactions happen, we are bound into this material world in this cycle of birth and death. So sense gratification is the root cause of our why we took birth here, because we had some unfulfilled desires. We had some propensities at the time of leaving our last body. That is why we are here. And God is very merciful. He permits, yes, go and fulfill your desires. So now the choice is ours, the intelligence is ours, how to use this opportunity of taking a human birth. So the first purpose, as was discussed, is to cleanse the sinful reactions of material existence. And once these reactions are cleared, the cycle of birth and death is already eliminated. Person rises to the transcendental platform and does not enter into the cycle of. And second aspect, I mentioned that it is the happiness which one earns or attains after. And third is, of course, the eternal transcendental knowledge that what is true, what should be done or not done. Yes, Mati, this.
Evam bahu viddha yagna vitata brahmano mukhe karma jana vidhi tan sarvan evam yadva shayase. All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So now Lord is very kind. He has diluted his earlier statement that all those paths of sacrifices, which one is taking, Dravyamaya, Jnanamaya, Swadhyaya, Tapomaya, any kind of activity, hearing, even chanting, all these are sacrifices, and they all ultimately merge into and the ultimate gain is in the form of transcendental knowledge. But who is reaching this ladder, the ultimate goal fast? Because the devotee or person in Krishna consciousness, he transcends all these. Ashtanga yoga is very, very difficult. It is very difficult to have those 8 stages of control over self. Yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dhyan, dharana, dhyan and samadhi. So one will take many births of thousand years of living to attain even one single step. But a Krishna conscious devotee can attain it instantly, even in this very life, even at any stage of life. So this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. Then, yes, Mataji, this is just a summary. Please read the text, the translations of 31, 32.
Okay. All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifices, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere. O base of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is just an explanation of we have already studied. Bhavika Mataji, after Khushbu Mataji, please. We have already did. Yes, Khushbu Mataji, you can read this one. After Khushbu Mataji, Bhavika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Guruji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Shreya Divya Maya. Guruji, can I read only
Yeah,
this
no
explanation?
problem, no problem. Mataji. Shreyan Dravya Mayat Yajnaj Jnana Yajna Paran Tapah Sarvam Karma Khilam Partha Jnane Parisamaptaye. Yes, Mataji, read the translation.
O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material positions. After all, O son of Parth, all sacrifices of work culminate in traditional knowledge.
Thank you, Mataji. So now Lord Krishna, after understanding we are material people, materially contaminated, so we are always thinking of doing, rituals, and as per the Vedic instructions, the yajnas, different type of yajnas. So Lord says here that now it clarifies that the yajna performed in knowledge is better than giving mere sacrifice of material possessions. Now, when we started this class, some of devotees answered that giving up something which you love most or something like that. So, but if the yajna is performed with the purpose of attaining transcendental knowledge, then it is better rather than giving up your worldly possessions. So, because it results into transcendental knowledge. Yes, Mataji, continue.
Real knowledge culminate in Krishna consciousness, the highest stage of transcendental knowledge. Without the invention of knowledge, sacrifices are simply material activities. When elevated to the level of transcendental knowledge, they enter onto the spiritual platform.
Thank you, Mataji. So some essence of this the three sentences is that sacrifice must ultimately culminate into development of transcendental knowledge. And what is this transcendental knowledge? That I am not material body, I am soul, I am eternal, I am part and parcel of Lord. I am the eternal servitor of Lord Krishna. So this transcendental knowledge becomes firmly established in the mind of person who performs sacrifices. Yes, Mataji, this pronounce. The same thing, in fact, I'll just skip them. Yeah. Yes, Mataji, now read this one section. This is section 5.
Conclusion.
Before, but conclusion of section 5, that next section which we are going to. That this section, before you start, please let me summarize. This section deals with, in fact, what is this transcendental knowledge or the successful yajna? What are the methods of attaining this transcendental knowledge? What is the use of it? And ultimately, what is the goal of it? So, yes, please read.
Conclusion. How to achieve transcendental knowledge. The fruit of transcendental knowledge. Who can successfully achieve transcendental knowledge? The symptoms of one who has successfully applied transcendental knowledge to work. Conclusion.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is an outline of what section we are going to study now. Yes, Bhavika Mataji. This is a very important verse. Can anybody tell what is happening on right side picture?
Prabhuji, Krishna and Balarama are studying from Guruji.
They are studying. And who is the spiritual master of Krishna?
Sandapini.
Sandeepni.
Sandeepni.
Sandeepni, yes. Even Lord Krishna in childhood, to set an example for us, he also accepted a spiritual master. He had Athat Gyan. He had he is the source of entire Vedic knowledge, and yet he, in his childhood, for his the people, for all the living entities, or for entire humanity to follow his example, he had a guru also, a spiritual master. And he's Mahajani in Gata Sampatha, because the path treaded by the great people is followed by common people. So he also accepted. So this verse is very, very important. Yes, Mataji, read it.
Tadvidhi pranipatane tena parikshanena sevaya upadeshanti te jnanam jnaninastvatvarashinah. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So this shall be last one because second classes people have started, devotees have started joining. Tad vidhi pranipraten pariprashnen sevaya updekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshanah. Jnaninas tattva darshanah, one who has seen this real knowledge, one who has knows the real truth. How he knows the truth? Tad vidhi pranipaten. That means he has learned the truth by accepting a spiritual master. Secondly, now he has inquired about the truth from this spiritual master in a submissive manner, not in a challenging manner, not in a testing manner. Sometimes, we know an answer, we ask a teacher, yes, what is the solution to this problem? We know the solution. That is kind of, we want to test the knowledge of the spiritual master, not in a challenging manner. So it has to be done in a submissive manner and render service to him. So there are three aspects in approaching. First, we must approach a spiritual master, a bona fide spiritual master from disciplic succession, number one, and submit to him in submissive manner, put our question, not in a challenging fashion, and also render service to him. That these are three essential criteria for attaining knowledge or the transcendental knowledge from a spiritual master. And only who can give this? Sandeepni Guru was a self-realized soul. He was, he was a self-realized soul, and he knew the solution to different problems of material and spiritual life. So he can impart only knowledge, this kind of knowledge. So we have to stop because the other batch has already joined, perhaps the link. So any questions very quickly, questions or doubts or addition or correction or submission? Otherwise, we'll continue on Monday and finish up this because only 34. About 7 or 9 or 10 verses are remaining. We'll finish up those verses. In these verses, coming verses, the method of attaining this transcendental knowledge through yajna, the purpose or the goal, and also the outcome of this goal is mentioned in these 9 verses onwards. Hare Krishna. If there is no question, we can close. Attendance link is posted in the chat box. Please fill the attendance, those who have joined late. may also do so.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you. So let me
Hare
close.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam to all of you. Om Vanchakalp tarubhyascha krapa sindhuva evacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anant Koti Vaishnav Bandhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna devotees, Prabhujis and Mataji, and Dandavat pranam to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji, for being, Prabhuji, for being there in the class today. Thank you. Hare Krishna.